Hi everyone, this is Professor Benjamin and it is Sunday, May 31st. And so I am sending out a roundup for this week in terms of this class. But of course, before I even start, I have to start with, of course, what's going on in the world today, or what's been going on for centuries in the world. And so I come to you with a heavy heart and hope. I always hope that change will come about. Unfortunately, because of history and how it repeats itself, I don't have that much hope, but I am hoping that your generation is able to hopefully change some of what is going on in the world today. While talking about, George and Ahmaud and, Christian Cooper and, the fact that Patricia Ripley decided to blame black people on the death of her son when she actually pushed him into a ravine, and Breonna Taylor, and all of these are just recent incidents, but the systematic racism in our society that goes back for centuries is definitely something that we need to address and take note of. So I want to say that if you decide to protest, please just be careful. I'm not going to tell you how to protest because that's up to you. And that is, no matter how, unfortunately, how African Americans protest, it is looked at as in white people's eyes as bad. So whether you kneel, whether you loot, whether you destroy things, whether you peacefully do it, no matter what, white people seem to have a say on how you do it. So I am going to try and break that standard and tell you that no matter how you protest, just please be careful, take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones when you do it. And hopefully it will spark some sort of interest. The other thing that I ask you to do is vote. Please vote in the next presidential election. Please have your voice heard. Please be one of the people that is able to invoke change through voting. And so please do that. Okay, so enough with me on my soapbox. The next thing is housekeeping items. So just a couple things. Number one, more than 6 people are answering each question, and that is one of the rules in this class, is that only 6 people can answer each question posed, and there are lots of reasons for that. So I ask that you please be sure that you are not the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th person to answer a question, because you are not receiving credit for your posts. So please make sure that if you have a tendency to get in late, that you're picking probably the worst question because no one wants to answer it. So make sure that unfortunately, you're going to have to do that. So make sure you get in early if you find a question that you like to answer. A couple other little housekeeping items. Number one, all posts should have an introduction, just like a brief background on the question. Then you take a stance and explain factually why you take that stance, and then you answer the question, making a stance, and then you make your conclusion. A lot of you are failing to do that. You're just summarizing what has already been given to us to read. The idea of these posts is for you to make a stance and for you to bring in some factual reason for it so that students can respond back to it. If you're just summarizing what we were supposed to read, we all can do that. So that's the point of that. Also, please remember initial posts need to be at least 300 words, contain sources. Make sure you're properly citing the source, not Canvas, that you're using the actual source that has been given to you. And then your response posts need to be at least 300 words. So please, I'm going to start cracking down on that next week because we'll have been 3 weeks into the course. A couple other things coming up. So next week, you will have food and sustainability. Initial posts due by Wednesday for food, Wednesday for sustainability, response post by Friday for food, response post by Friday for sustainability. You'll also have a quiz for food. You will not have a quiz for sustainability. So next week is that. Don't forget, you do have 2 quizzes due this week. So you have a quiz due for consumption and you have a quiz due for ethics, economics, and policy. So make sure you finish those by tonight, 11:59. Okay. Also, next week, you need to have watched the film Fed Up. I know that it is a crazy time right now with everything that's going on. But if you can, search YouTube or try and look on Amazon Prime, or sometimes they're on Netflix if you can find the film. And please watch it. It is really important that you have watched that, because there is also a midterm exam question on it, and I need you to really develop the answer for the midterm exam as well. Okay. So that's housekeeping, and then what you have due tonight, and then what you have next week. I just kind of want to recap last week, which is, so I'm going to kind of mix these up a little. So under ethics, economic, and policy, number one, please remember that environmental injustice occurs. It used to be really just race-based, but now it's actually more on lack of education, lack of income of the people, and lack of resources. So people just don't have the time to fight if injustices occur. No matter how many times the injustice occurs, it's still injustice. So if when I worked at New Jersey DEP, we represented the individuals of South Camden very quietly, because I would have lost my job. But we did that because a sewage treatment plant was slated for Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is a mostly white, Caucasian, and Asian American town. People came out because they have the income and they have the capabilities to be able to come out to all of the town hall meetings. They protested very quietly. The entire sewage treatment plant was put into South Camden. And these individuals were put under, in the summertime, the smell, you just gag when you walk down streets. And this was done because it is an environmental injustice, because the people of South Camden, number one, couldn't take off from work to fight the plant. Most of the time, they didn't even know what was going on. They don't know their legal process or rights. They can't hire lawyers. So there's lots of issues on that. Another thing is monotheistic religion. So a lot of you shied away from this. Some of you actually, I appreciate, really kind of got into it. But by God putting dominion to us, or giving us the ability to take care of the earth, means that we have dominion over it. It can't take care of itself. It needs somebody to take care of it. So that is the fact that humans are over nature. If we have to take care of something, then that means we have dominion over it. So that means that we're above it. So if you're taking care of something, that means you're above it. And so, you taking care of a domestic dog, you tell it what to do. And so that is dominion over it. It is not stewardship. It is not any of that. It is you taking care of it. So you have dominion over it. And so that's an issue. And some of you talked about it, some of you didn't. The other thing is the Bible. Some of you didn't cite the Bible, even if it is not, and I know this is a controversial statement, but it is a faith-based, the Bible, the Quran, all of those are faith-based, so they're not scientifically proven. And I know that's a controversial statement to say, but in the scientific community, we can't have the Bible as a scientific source, because it is based upon other people's stories. It's not factually based. There weren't actual statistics done and all of that. So we got to think about that when we quote the Bible. Pricing the priceless. A lot of you said you can't put a price tag on nature. Actually, you can put a price tag on nature. In fact, I have a price tag. You have a price tag. All of us have price tags. And that is determined by, how much life insurance you get or how much you qualify for. So yes, we all have price tags. There are issues, and the process by which we go about putting a price tag on nature is inaccurate. But it can be done. So please do not say, no, we can't put a price tag on nature. We can. The price tag is just not accurate. And that's it. And because even human lives have price tags put on them. After 9/11, what people were paid out in lawsuits and all the other things was based upon what their jobs were at the World Trade Center. So yes, unfortunately, the waiter or the server or the individual that swept the floors was given less money than the CEO of certain companies, just flat out. So please take note to that. A lot of you summarize the story of stuff instead of taking the stance, so that was an issue. Some of you, when you picked the consumption article, does consumption buy happiness? You did a great job. You talked about the fact that we reached this amount, which is about $70,000, where our basic needs are met, and then after that, we're on that hedonic treadmill. We never see any increase in satisfaction. But a lot of you failed to talk about vehicle consumption and leisure consumption, which were talked about in the article, which is the fact that social connectedness through leisure consumption brings us a lot more happiness. So like remembering vacations brings us more happiness than actually like buying something. The other thing is vehicle consumption, which is really interesting. That actually goes against the consumption ideal that consumption can't bring us happiness, because actually buying a car can bring us more happiness because it brings us more connectiveness socially. So we can actually go visit people more often. Someone did talk about that in our article, so I appreciate that. So that was last week, so I wanted to kind of touch base on those. I will also today at some point, probably later tonight, make a video on the midterm exam. I'll walk you through the midterm exam. Remember, all of the questions that you can find on the midterm exam review right here will be on the midterm. So you won't have any surprises. All of those questions are on there. All of those questions need to be at least one full paragraph in length. So you want to make sure that you do that. And answer those questions. And I kind of tell you on there where you can find the information, so make sure you look that up, okay? And I'll make a video kind of just walking you through what I'm looking for in those answers. And most likely I'll post it later on today, and I'll send out an email as well. It won't be till later on tonight though. I'll do that. But don't forget, so you have your 2 quizzes due by tonight. You have ethics, economics, and policy right here. You have a quiz due. You have a quiz due on consumption and waste. Next week, you have your sustainability post due, and you have your food post due. And then you remember Wednesday, Friday. And then you also have your food quiz due, all right? And then we'll cover air and climate change the following week, and you'll have your midterm. So you want to make sure that week is going to be really tough next week, the June 14th week. So make sure that you are planning ahead for that week, because besides your 2 initial posts, 2 response posts, and 2 quizzes, you're also going to have your midterm exam due. So make sure this week will be an okay week, but the following week is going to be a really tough week. So time management is going to be essential. Again, please take care and be well. Please take care of yourself and your loved ones. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you're having any worries or anything, make sure you reach out as well. I can put you in touch with some people at the college, like the Center for Male Engagement, the Women's Advocacy Center. I can put you in touch with our counseling services. So if you have any trepidations or feel depressed or are really concerned about what's going on, feel free to reach out, and I could see if I could get you in touch with somebody next week, and then you can talk with them about any of your fears, etc. Sometimes us talking through it helps a little bit as well, okay? Not feeling that we're living in this isolated world about our feelings, but that remember, all of your feelings are justified. So please reach out if you have any questions. Try and have a good week. I know that we are all heavy right now, but try and have a good week. And remember, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out.